Is it hard having that conversation when you first start seeing somebody and you guys are dating and you're like, okay, like I want to kind of go do this and have it be this way?
Yeah, I think the biggest, like, so now we're in this world of online dating, especially even more because we're in a pandemic right now. I'm not at the bar, I'm not at fetish night talking to people.
Yeah.
And it's a little different if you meet me at fetish night. You know, you're like,
What it is.
yeah, you're
Yeah.
like, you're here, I'm
They're like,
here.
I thought
Okay,
this
we,
was vanilla. What are
yeah,
we?
yeah. So, that kind of takes it, that's the icebreaker. With online dating, I know myself and several of the other women in my community, we don't let the cat out of the bag for a while because my personal experience, and everybody's experience is different, and I think my girls would probably agree with me. Our experiences is if you tell somebody that you're kinky too early on, it flips the dynamic of a conversation, and it's this, oh, so let's have a threesome, oh, you want to do and yes, we're all kinky, but kinky is like such a small personality part of my personality. You know what I mean? I've sat on the board of directors of nonprofits, and I like to bake. You know what I mean? I love to garden. I have dogs. All of these like other things. We're these huge dynamic people, and when people who aren't really inundated in our world find out that you're kinky, I get the genuine curiosity of it, and it's easy for us to recognize someone who's asking really good, genuine curiosity questions like you are. I feel like this is a great dynamic. Like, you're really curious. And I love that. And I want to talk about who we are and what we do. But when it becomes this, like,
All consuming thing. Like
yeah, and like
there's
they just
nothing
want to put a
else.
bunch of shit in their spank bank, for them to relate to later. It's no fun. It kind of becomes it's sleazy. It's just
Mm-hmm.
sleazy. And so for most of us, we try, there's a whole website out there called FetLife that's like the kinky Facebook, and it's where you can build a profile that talks all about your fetishes. You can post pictures, you can put up naked pictures, it's totally okay. You can, say exactly what you're looking for, and likes and dislikes, and all of that. So those are the playgrounds to go and have those conversations, because that's the dynamic that's built there. But when you're on other, vanilla dating sites, it's we just don't talk about it. I mean, I think sometimes in our profiles there's like an undertone that if you were part of our world you
You
would
get
pick
it.
up on it,
Mm-hmm.
but the normal person might not. I talk about sometimes in my profiles that I'm like non-monogamous, and sometimes people know what that is. Or we say I'm a sapiosexual, which means I'm really turned on by intelligence. And so, and then there's like demisexuals, which we have a lot of those in our community. And that talks about like, I don't become sexually attracted to somebody until I've actually like met them and like spent some time with them. It's not the look across the room and, yeah, that guy, kind of a thing, you know. So, yeah, some of us keep it a little bit more under wrap. If you Google me, you're gonna find out all my secrets. You're gonna find me linked to Fetish Night or other articles and stuff like that. So it's not like I'm really super hiding it, but I do like to kind of wait and before you're like, I've been chatting with a couple of guys and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go do this podcast, and they're like, what are you gonna go talk about? And I was like, sex positivity. you know,
Which is important. I
yeah,
could see how, though, like, especially me not being in that community. Like, I could see how you talking to somebody and bringing it up for the first time, like that would be the focus,
right.
and then it changes that dynamic of, okay, there was this person in front of me who's dynamic and multifaceted, and
Right.
now it's just all consumed by, okay, so sexual, like what, like what does this mean for
Right.
us, like what, it's all about that now, just
Right.
because it's more popularized now, but it is still so niche that
Right.
it's like that becomes your identity instead of a part of a part of you.
Yeah, I compare it all the time to, like, because I've been like an educator, and I consider myself like this ambassador, and I run an online community, and part of my unofficial official jobs are like weeding out people, and then reminding people of like rules and boundaries and stuff like that. And So I always compare sometimes being a kinkster to like being a doctor. Like the minute you tell somebody you're a doctor, they like want to pull their pants down and they're like, "Look at this
Can you
rash.
tell me what's
Can
wrong?
you tell?"
Yeah.
And and they're like, "Go see a doctor." You know what I mean? And so sometimes when you tell people that I'm a BDSM educator or whatever, they just start like vomiting all of this and I'm like, I didn't need to know that. Like I didn't ask you for that information. So yeah, oversharing,
Mhm.
and I get it. People get excited. It's new and it's, for us, like when you've been in this world, it's just like a porn star. I have a lot of friends that do porn. It's another day at the office.
Yeah.
And if you've ever watched what goes on behind porn, like behind the scenes or even in the fetish models, it's not sexy. There's nothing sexy going on. It's not hot. You know what I mean? It's a lot of like, hold on, wait a minute, I need a new battery. Wait, hold on, let me get something else. Um it's a job.
Yeah.
It's another day at the office. And so sometimes I feel like when I get into these conversations with people, it can feel very clinical at times because I'm just like, fact, 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 instead of just having this really nice, I feel like I'm constantly educating people and wanting to shake them a lot, of like, that's not true, stop watching porn, um, and stuff. So it's being kink, it can be lonely, it can be fun, it can be exciting, but at times we feel really isolated for who we are and stuff like that. And we become fetishized too, of like, oh, you're kinky, and now I'm attracted to you because you're kinky, not because I'm kinky with you. So it's complicated.
And it seems like it'd be hard to set that boundary, like you said, right? Where if you say, "Oh, I like to be submissive," and then they go, "Okay, let's have a three-way." It's like,
Right.
"Oh, well, that's not
Right.
the same
Right.
path,
Yeah.
right?"
So I get to choke you. I'm like, do you even know how to choke somebody? And do you understand how, like, no, you can't choke me. Are you trained? I'm always like, tell me your credentials. Send me your resume. Give me your references. So yeah.
Yeah, it's gotta be hard, right? Especially where you are so open about it, which is great.
Yeah.
But then there's the flip side of that, right? And that
Yeah.
everybody knows that, and then that's your branding in a
Right.
way.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a double-edged sword. It's hard when you're, out, and yeah. I mean, and I don't mind, like in my community, I get a lot of questions from my community members and stuff and whatnot. And I'm up here, Humboldt County's really small. It's not like living in San Francisco or being in Portland or even in LA. So like up here in Humboldt County, I might be considered one of the more knowledgeable people. You put me in San Francisco and I'm like a nobody down there, but I go to these events and then I take all the information that I've learned from, going to these other universities and bring that back here to my community to try to teach them because it's not easy for everybody to travel. These events aren't cheap, and stuff. And so, here I'm kind of the princess, and in other, worlds, I go to other places, I'm just like, oh my God, you are like the coolest shit. I get to meet these really insane famous people.